Connection.
It's election night. Millions of Americans watching and waiting. The clock ticking to polls closing.
It's up to you. This is your country.
The power to vote will change the course of this country.
Across America and here in New England, we have our entire team bringing you the races.
I'm going to unite this country, and we're going to move like we haven't in a long time.
The results.
And we are going to keep on winning, winning, winning.
And the reaction. Tonight we have a team of reporters all across New England bringing you the coverage you won't get anywhere else. And it all starts right now.
Time now is 5 o'clock on the dot on this all-important election day. Thank you for joining us on what has arguably become the most highly anticipated presidential election in modern history. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this special Election Day coverage. I'm Tim Caputo.
And I'm Jackie Bruno. Today, Americans decide if President Trump should keep his job or whether they're sending Joe Biden to the Oval Office. But across New England, we have a lot of other important races as well. And we are your only local station covering all of it.
All of it, all around New England, all around the country as well. We got our team ready as well. Brian Shackman is here. Brian, you're going to be taking us through all those Senate races, right?
Yeah, they let me back at the touchscreen for a second night. I'm going to basically look at the Democratic Party and what they need to do to flip the Senate blue.
You are a touchscreen master. You're going to do a great job again tonight, Brian. And we also have Sue O'Connell also here. And Sue, you are breaking down how women are really playing a big part in this election across all fronts.
Yeah, that's right. From obviously Kamala Harris to the Supreme Court. We're going to see how all of those issues may be impacting the vote today.
And not only do we have our experts in-house, we also have in-depth analysis all evening long.
We certainly do. And we also have reporters all across New England.
Yeah, check this out. We got a team covering it all evening long for you here. Abby Nisgoda's in Boston, Catherine Underwood up in New Hampshire, Jack Thurston in Vermont, Dustin Wachowski in Maine. Did we get all the states in New England there? They're breaking down everything you need to know as we approach the final hours of Election Day voting. We do have an awful lot to get to tonight. And so much to cover. We do want to begin in Massachusetts, of course. We're a couple hours away, 2 hours and 57 minutes away from the polls officially closing in the Commonwealth. You see the countdown right there on your screen.
Yeah, but let's head out to Abby Nisgoda. She joins us live now from Stoneham, Massachusetts. And Abby, how is it going out there tonight?
Well, Jackie, the clock is certainly ticking here in Stoneham. They had some long lines at this polling location this morning. They're gearing up for any last-minute rush. But with more than half of registered voters here in Stoneham casting their ballots before today, the poll workers inside Town Hall right behind me say they really don't know what to expect tonight.
We're trendsetters in Stoneham, yeah.
In the bellwether town of Stoneham, it's no surprise the only polling location is packed.
The line was around the corner, which we don't see that usually.
They had 80% voter turnout here in 2016. This year, the town is expecting close to 90.
Much busier, much busier.
More than 10,000 ballots were cast in Stoneham before Election Day even arrived.
Probably more tired than I've ever been after the 2 weeks of early voting and all the mail-in ballots.
But we still found plenty of voters who preferred to show up in person today.
I don't trust mail-in ballots. Don't trust it.
I believe in the mail-in thing, but I just want to be here. For me, it feels better to come and be a part of something.
They're all here to have their voices heard, even though poll workers say the plexiglass does make it a little harder to actually hear.
I find myself standing up when most people come, and I put my ear on the other side and try to keep my face on this side.
Stoneham voters eager to tell us who they support and why.
I just feel like Joe Biden is going to be a fresh start.
I'm voting for Donald Trump because I want to live in a free society.
But many say they're worried about what will happen tonight.
It's just, I want it to be done tonight, but I know it won't be, so I'm just a little nervous.
Yeah, a lot of nerves and a lot of anxiety, guys. No real issues here at this polling location today. The town clerk says the only problem is a couple people tried to come in wearing a mask with the name of their chosen candidate on the mask. She had to remind them you're not allowed to wear political clothing inside the polls, and that includes your face covering. We're live in Stoneham. I'm Abby Nisgoda.
Good reminder for the people who are still yet to cast their ballot in the last couple hours here. In addition to the presidential race, Massachusetts voters also deciding the fate of 2 ballot questions. You've probably seen the ads for them, right? Question 1 would give car owners and independent auto shops more access to the diagnostic information on a vehicle's computer, your vehicle's computer. Repair shops and suppliers say this would help small shops compete with those big dealerships. Automakers say this could open the door to thieves stealing personal information. Let's go to question 2. This is about ranked choice voting. So voters are being asked whether they want to adopt this new system or just keep the things the way they are. So in ranked choice voting, you could essentially pick a preference of candidates, list them out in order of how you want them. And this really helps when there's multiple candidates, because to win, a candidate's got to get at least 50% of the vote. So if it ends up being split and no one reaches that 50% mark, the majority, the last place finisher gets eliminated. Their first choice votes gets reallocated as their second choice. This process repeats and repeats until one single candidate reaches 50% threshold. Those are the 2 ballot questions here in Massachusetts.
Now moving on to New Hampshire, where voters are lining up all across the Granite State. And New Hampshire, of course, always a key battleground state in the presidential election.
And one of the first ones to end their voting for the evening on Election Day. NECN's Catherine Underwood picks up our team coverage now from Bedford with a look at how things are going there. Catherine, how's it looking?
Tim and Jackie, it's actually been a really slow, steady stream of voters here into the Bedford High School gym. You can see it seems kind of empty in here now. But it turns out that the crowds were really earlier this morning. Polling places across the state reporting that voters were lined up before 5 a.m. to be the first through the doors to cast their ballot. Turnout is expected to be record-breaking here in the swing state of New Hampshire, and it certainly is already here in Bedford. The town moderator tells me by the end of the day today, Bedford will likely reach a 90% turnout, which is simply unprecedented. And voters today telling me, as they do every 4 years, that Election Day is better than the Super Bowl here in New Hampshire. But this year, they say the stakes are higher than ever before, and tensions are too.
Absolutely. It's been challenging even to deal with friends and family, but everybody has their right and everybody has their opinion, and you do what's right for you and just hope for the best.
Do you feel like the stakes are higher?
Yeah, a little bit. Just a little bit more pressure, a little bit more. If you vote one way, you're going to lose some friends either which way. So it's kind of hard in that sense.
I think this is a critical year. I think this is, this is just going to change the course of where this country's going to go.
It's getting a little bit exhausting. Everyone's waiting, kind of on edge, a little, anxiety-ridden.
And those folks also tell me that as excited as they are that Election Day is here, they're even more excited for it to be over. The polls close here in Bedford at 7 o'clock, in other places across the state at 8 o'clock. But here locally, we could see results as early as 8:30. We'll bring those to you, of course, as soon as we get them. Reporting live in Bedford, New Hampshire, I'm Catherine Underwood. Jackie, back to you.
Thanks so much, Catherine. And we are staying in New Hampshire because overnight, the first results of the 2020 election came in just after midnight. All 5 votes in Dixville Notch went to former Vice President Joe Biden. And this is only the second time a presidential candidate has swept that tiny town, which is just about 20 miles south of the Canadian border. In the governor's race, current Republican Governor Chris Sununu got 4 votes, beating his Democratic challenger, Dan Phelps. And it was the same split for Democratic Senator Jeanne Shaheen. She won 4 votes in her re-election bid to Republican Corky Messner's 1 vote. And for the past 60 years, voters in Dixville Notch have cast the first votes in the general election.
I feel like there were more reporters there than actual people who cast their ballots.
Probably.
5 in all.
And besides the race for the White House, we're also keeping a close eye on the battle for control of the Senate. And one of the nation's most closely watched Senate races is in Maine, right here in New England, leaving voters there with a tough choice in a race that could go either way. Let's send it out to our Dustin Wojtkowski. He is live in Bangor, Maine. And Dustin, how is everybody feeling out there tonight?
Well, the short answer, Jackie and Tim, is cold. It's pretty cold here in Bangor. There's snow on the ground, but that has not stopped a hot turnout across Maine this cycle. In 2020, it's possible that Maine is going to break its turnout records. For absentee ballots, one of those records has already been close to being broken. There have been about 529,000 requested across the state in 2020. Some of that's been the pandemic, some of it's been personal preference with voters. At town offices, clerks have reported turnout at 2018 levels or higher. One rural town we were seeing a surge in today with absentee ballots too. It's about 51% of people voting that way. In general, voters say they're just passionate, and Maine's Senate race is something getting a lot of their attention, as you said.
The last 4 years have not been what I've liked it to be. I've been scared, and I'm voting for change.
I really like both candidates. I think they do have, I think they genuinely do have the best interest of Maine at heart. And yeah, it will be interesting to see which way it goes. I know it's rated as being very, very close right now, so that'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
And Maine tends to have a high turnout overall. It tends to be up there with those states like Minnesota and Oregon, where a lot of eligible voters go out and do just that, cast their ballots. But to break that record, we've got to get somewhere north of about 73%, Tim and Jackie.
Thanks so much, Dustin, out there in Maine for us.
Let's go to Vermont. A lot of races there, already a foregone conclusion, but there are some state races that people are watching very closely there, and the polls close relatively early in the night in Vermont. Voters still heading to the polls, making their voices heard, at least for the next couple hours. Our Jack Thurston joins us live from Vermont. Jack, give us a temperature out there. Cold in Vermont, too?
Very cold always, Tim. Here in the community of Williston, this is one of the towns that's really expecting an unprecedented voter participation this time around. There's about 8,400 eligible voters in Williston, and even before Election Day, nearly 6,000 of them had cast their ballots through early voting, and we've seen a steady stream of voters throughout the day. The town clerk says things here have been pretty smooth.
Candidates were still working for votes on Election Day, including the rivals in Vermont's closely watched lieutenant governor's race.
I'm so proud to run a positive, issue-focused, forward-looking campaign.
We think we're in the lead, and we got to get to the finish line.
In Williston, many voters said they just liked the feeling of security they got from putting their ballot into the tabulator themselves, even though the state has been voting early by mail or at drop boxes for weeks.
I've come out in snowstorms. Bad weather, good weather, doesn't matter. I'll show up at the polls.
We filled them out at home, and I appreciate that because you spend less time in the building.
The nearly 6,000 here who did vote early made for a much less crowded polling place, which was the goal, of course, during the pandemic.
And it just really helped to make our day more manageable and our evening also pretty smooth, I'm hoping.
While everyone has their own motivations behind their decisions.
COVID and the economy, I think, are the biggies this year.
For many, this day was all about whether they wanted 4 more years of President Trump.
We don't love the guy by any means, but there's been a lot of his policies that we have liked over the past 4 years.
And our president today is trampling all over the Constitution. So it changes my mind about the Republican Party.
And polls across the state of Vermont are open this evening until 7 p.m. Tim and Jackie.
Jack Thurston, Vermont. Thank you, Jack. Let's head down to Connecticut. We talk about polls closing. How about opening early this morning? Some folks showed up at 4 a.m. today to hold a spot in line before the polls opened at 6 a.m., which is remarkable.
Yeah, that's dedication. And this is video from West Hartford. The Secretary of State says the office was receiving calls of long voting lines. Now, some voters waited in line for 10 minutes. Others, though, 2 hours. According to the Election Project, more than 600,000 ballots have been cast as of 5 p.m. Polls are open in Connecticut until 8 p.m. tonight. Heading now to Rhode Island, that state is expecting a strong voter turnout as well, and that's according to the Secretary of State, Nellie Gorbea. The state has already seen a strong response to early voting and mail-in ballots as well, and as of last check, more than 430,000 people in Rhode Island have cast their ballots. Some important things to know if you're still heading to the polls there. You are reminded to wear a mask, keep social distancing, keep that, that's very important there. And Rhode Island also is offering same-day registration, but those who register can only vote in the presidential election, Tim.
All right, turning now to your first alert weather. We got reporters all over New England, so you can kind of get a little bit of a pulse of the weather out there right now. Cold in Vermont, cold in Maine, really cold right here in Needham, too.
Yeah, the wind was really bad yesterday and this morning, too. So let's talk to Pamela Gardner. She's joining us now with your election night forecast.
Hey there,
Happy Tuesday, Election Day here. Let's check out some of the records. For the Boston area, we did have a very warm election day. Back in 1936, the high was 75 degrees. The coldest, 1965 with 26 degrees. The wettest, 1985 with over 2 inches of rain. Average high for election day, about 56 degrees. Average low being 42. Today, we were around the average low with high temperatures in the low 40s, but of course, it felt much cooler than that. So we have one more day of cold. That's today. Then a big turnaround for late this week as we see temperatures on the rise. We're storm free too for the next several days, which is great news. Nice and quiet across the Northeast. Overnight tonight, lows drop into the teens north, 20s and 30s down to the south. Very subtle breeze from the northwest. That does diminish as the night goes on. Tomorrow, we're back in the 40s and 50s. Yes, we're warming things up already, but this is just the start. By the end of the week, we'll see some 60s and maybe even some lucky communities could hit the low 70s. 50 degrees across Concord, though. Rochester 48, Hartford 60 degrees already. And with the wind, it does calm overnight tonight, but the calm conditions will give way to some gusty winds for Wednesday afternoon as we get more sunshine during the day and as high pressure positions itself a little bit to our south and to our east. The winds will be gusty from time to time Wednesday afternoon and especially by the evening with peak winds between 30 and 40 miles per hour across higher elevations. Worcester Hills, the Berkshires, northern New England, just a few light subtle breezes. And high pressure, there it is down to our south. As this continues to head farther to the south and east and away from us, we see the surge of warmth because of that south-southwest wind. And a cold front slowly tries to make its way in for Friday. Good news is it's not going to bring any rain and it's not really going to move through here. It actually diminishes and really you're going to notice instead a warming trend. By Saturday into Sunday, temperatures in the 60s. So a nice weekend ahead with temps in the mid 60s both days.
Thanks so much, Pamela. And the clock is ticking down. We are now just hours away from the polls closing, less than an hour in some places like Kentucky.
Yeah, if you haven't already, get out and vote. Make your voice heard. Just leave NECN on the TV when you leave so it's back on when you return.
Definitely.
Stay with us. We'll have Brian Shackman on the big board going through all the states coming up. You're watching NECN, New England's Connection.
Do you care about climate change, about social justice, about your community and your world? So do we. We're NBCLX, a new network dedicated to bringing you the news and events that matter most to you.
Making news right now.
Stories you'll want to share with your friends.
It's time to check out some of the biggest stories that people are sharing right now.
News you need to know.
We got more news to get to.
Designed for you and the way you live.
Yes!
Watch LX News weekday mornings and evenings, over the air, on cable, and at LX.com.
Look, Limu! Someone out there needs help customizing their car insurance with Liberty Mutual, so they only pay for what they need. False alarm. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty. Because of this, we built Ford Super Duty to be the most capable heavy-duty pickup ever. Because of this, we built Ford F-150 with 375 horsepower. Because of this, we built Ford Ranger with a terrain management system. And because Ford trucks are built for this, you made Ford America's best-selling brand. During the final days of Truck Month, lease F-150 for $189 a month or get up to $10,475 total savings on select F-150 XLTs.
Take a look at our new Medicare Advantage benefits for 2021. It's time for Medicare open enrollment, and we have new benefits at Blue Cross Blue Shield of Massachusetts. Call now and we'll help you connect the dots for a plan that fits your life, like our $0 premium Medicare Advantage HMO and PPO plans. Give us a call for your free Medicare guidebook and we'll go over coverage options. Our $0 HMO and PPO plans come with new benefits, like $0 copays on select generic drugs, $0 copays on routine dental, vision, and hearing visits, and even new eyewear and hearing aid benefits. And the benefits don't stop there. These plans also come with our new telehealth benefit, up to a $400 fitness and weight loss benefit, and our 24/7 nurse line. With one of the largest selections of Medicare plans in the state, and a broad network of doctors, specialists, and hospitals, we've got a plan for you. Let us help you connect the dots. So don't miss out on these new benefits. Call now to learn more and receive your free Medicare guidebook.
Town Fair Tire is New England's largest independent name brand tire dealer with the guaranteed lowest price and the most free services for life. That's why nobody beats a Town Fair Tire deal. Nobody.
Town Fair Tire.
5:19 on this election day, a day a lot of people have anxiously been waiting for an awfully long time. People across the country, they've been heading to the polls as the U.S. continues to battle this COVID-19 pandemic. In Massachusetts, voters are facing a lot of choices on election day, local, state, national level, and ballot questions.
Yeah, a lot of choices. And today, people across the Bay State have been casting their ballots in races for Congress and the U.S. Senate. 2 questions are also on the ballot, including one that could affect the way we vote in the future.
Many Massachusetts residents voted ahead of Election Day. Check out these numbers, and they are truly impressive.
Yeah.
More than 2.3 million ballots have already been mailed back in. Those are people who have voted early. That's nearly 50% of all registered voters. That's essentially heading into Election Day. Let's turn to election security now, because with so many people heading out to vote and a lot of emotion behind this vote as well, a lot to think about in regards to election safety. Joining us now, Massachusetts State Senator Barry Feingold, who's also the chair of the Joint Committee on Election Laws. So an important year for you specifically when it comes not just to the election, but COVID-19, making it easy, as easy as possible for people to vote. You hear those numbers, 2.3, that's got to make you happy.
Absolutely, and we really think we're going to hit that magic number of 3.5 million votes, which will be the largest vote in any election in the history of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
When it comes to today specifically, I know we had previous, the mail-in ballots and the in-person early voting. How's it gone so far today? Any issues? Things going smoothly?
I mean, early on, there was definitely a lot of lines in a lot of the polling locations, but after that, it's been pretty smooth, and I've not heard of any problems or disruptions or people unable to vote. So overall, I think we're doing very well here in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
When it comes to those people who are voting late in the afternoon, do you anticipate long lines as polls close? I know that gets to a point where if you're in line, you could still vote, or is there so many early votes out there you don't foresee that being a problem?
I don't see it as a problem. The other thing is people used to get caught in traffic. They were delayed at their office. With so many people working from home, I don't think we're going to have that problem. But I understand that if you are in line at 8 o'clock, they're going to make sure that you're able to vote.
When it comes to security, especially with those mail-in ballots, how could you assure the public, because this has come up on a national level, not specifically here in Massachusetts, but how can you assure the public that those votes are in fact proper and will be counted properly and there won't be any kind of shenanigans associated with that?
Well, the one thing that we've done here in Massachusetts that we did not do in the primary is we're allowing votes, as long as they're postmarked by today, to be counted by Friday. So we have 3 extra days to make sure every single vote is counted. And I think that's very important, that every single vote matters, no matter where you're from or what party you support. And we're going to make sure that happens here in Massachusetts.
I know, obviously, this is a really unique year when it comes to the pandemic and everything else, but as smoothly as this has gone, do you foresee this being something that we just do in the future, the mail-in, the early voting, and every opportunity to get the most people out, especially when you see the turnout?
I believe so, because at the end of the day, when this many people come out to vote, the real winner here is democracy. And I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican, when this many people participate in voting, it's only good for everyone. So I am one that that does want to see mail-in voting continue, early voting continue, and also having the option to vote the day of the election. I think everyone has their choice. We're seeing from today that people have taken that choice, and once again, the winner is everyone in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, because when people vote, democracy wins.
Perfectly said there, and I think the numbers speak for themselves. State Senator Barry Feingold joining us here this evening on election night. Thank you for all the work you've done leading up to today, especially with things going so smoothly.
And we continue with election security. Many stores throughout Boston now look like this. They're boarding up this election day, some even hiring extra security. And while Mayor Marty Walsh says there are no known threats to the city, business owners, though, they're not taking any chances, especially after the summer when protests in the city turned violent.
We've been out here for about 2 weeks now, boarding up businesses, Newbury Street, Boylston Street, State Street, trying to keep these businesses protected just in case, any riots happen, any bricks get through any windows or anything.
Boston police say officers will be out at polling places and in neighborhoods in case they're needed. The governor also put 1,000 members of the National Guard on standby as well.
Bit of a similar scene also playing out in Rhode Island. A number of businesses in downtown Providence boarding up their windows and doors as well. City officials there say they haven't learned of any credible threats of violence there, but they want to be prepared just in case. The governor also says that state resources will be on standby for any potential unrest there.
Of course, let's hope that is not the case and that is not needed.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, still ahead on NECN, your Decision 2020 coverage continues.
We are not far away from actual results coming in. Well, they won't be announced, some of them, until later this evening. We'll be watching closely all night long, and we'll give you kind of a timeline on when we could find out the real big winners in all these elections. Stay with us.
Because of this, we built Ford Super Duty to be the most capable heavy-duty pickup ever. Because of this, we built Ford F-150 with 375 horsepower. Because of this, we built Ford Ranger with the terrain management system. And because Ford trucks are built for this, you made Ford America's best-selling brand. During the final days of Truck Month, lease F-150 for $189 a month or get up to $10,475 total savings on select F-150 XLTs.
America's favorite easy on, easy off energy compression socks just got better. Introducing CopperFit Energy Plus, the world's first graduated compression socks with a rich blend of ingredients found in the top moisturizing lotions and creams. These micro-encapsulated ingredients are infused into the compression fabric and are gradually released and absorbed by your movement. Motion-activated technology designed to hydrate and soften for all-day comfort. The more you move, the more CopperFit Energy Socks delivers.
I'm not thinking about that I have compression socks on. That simple fact that they feel better with them on than with them off makes me love these socks.
Our most advanced copper-infused compression fabric, made in FDA-approved manufacturing facilities, woven into our Easy On, Easy Off graduated compression sock to help reduce swelling and discomfort from prolonged sitting or standing.
I feel that soothingness in my calves and in my ankles, but they can make my feet feel good after 300 miles on the road, and they got to be good for anybody else.
Enhanced compression around the arch and ankles for extra support and relief of muscle aches and pains. And a soft, shock-absorbing footbed for all-day comfort.
All that arch pain that I typically have is just relieved.
They are super comfortable.
They do the job. They're easy and they're effective. That's the whole point of wearing them.
Commercials always promise, promise, promise. This was something easy to try. Just put on a sock, see if it works. I have to say that I'm a fan.
The first ever Easy On, Easy Off compression socks with hydrating ingredients, worn by thousands of essential workers across the U.S. Order your Energy Plus compression socks online now at GetEnergyPlus.com for only $19.99 or call 1-800-597-3347. Order right now and get a second pair free.
I get compression, I get comfort, all in one sock.
Motorcycle guys appreciate the better technology. This is better technology.
Feel the power of CopperFit.
Time now is 5:27. If you didn't already know, it's Election Day here in the U.S. People all across the country heading to the polls if they didn't vote early. Here's a live look at a polling station in Salem, Massachusetts. Not terribly packed, but people still there, which is always a great sight. We're seeing a steady stream of voters there and at other polling places all across the state, really all across New England, too. So in Massachusetts, polls are open till 8 o'clock tonight.
And a number of stadiums and arenas are also serving as voting sites across the country. This is the look at Green Bay, Wisconsin at Lambeau Field. It was also a busy day at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. Voters showing up at dawn to cast their ballots there. And it was the same scene at the United Center in Chicago. People lined up outside the home of the Bulls and the Blackhawks to vote. And Tim, I know that gets you excited because you love Michael Jordan.
I do. When I went to the United Center last year, they should let you shoot like a free throw after you vote. Instead of giving you a sticker, if you don't want a sticker, you get to shoot a free throw.
That would definitely make people turn out.
They didn't do that this year.
Well, today Americans are deciding if President Trump keeps his job or if former Vice President Joe Biden should occupy the Oval Office instead.
Yeah, let's take a live look at what's at stake. That building right there. You know it, you love it. It's the White House. Here in Massachusetts, polls close in about 2.5 hours from now. So they close at 8 o'clock this evening, but candidates, well, they are bracing for a long night all across the country and the possibility that the victor in this race may not be known for days. I hope you're sitting down when you hear that. It might not be tonight, could be tonight, but it might not be. Some of the key swing states that could have a big impact on this election tonight, you see them on your screen there. Those are the ones in yellow. Maybe some surprising ones in there. We're talking about Georgia and Texas, not typically considered a battleground state, but you got the other ones that are normally in there, Florida, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Arizona. We'll be keeping a close eye on all of those states and across the country as well. Well, this is what democracy looks like. Check this out. This is a video from earlier today showing workers in Philadelphia pre-canvassing those mail-in ballots, and there were a lot of them. That means they're opening the envelopes, they are preparing the ballots for processing and counting, not counting them just yet. Nearly 100 million Americans have already cast their ballots in early voting, which is remarkable.
Yeah.
But the big question still remains, with so many people voting in so many different ways, just how long is it going to take until we get those results? We love having answers immediately. That might not happen tonight.
Yeah, and Pennsylvania might be one of the reasons why. So we're going to be watching that very closely as well. And our Tom Costello also is watching it. He reports that it could be days until we know who wins.
It's finally here, Election Day 2020, but with an unprecedented early voter turnout nationwide and many lining up to vote today, the final countdown could lead to a drawn-out race to declare a winner.
The Election Day votes that are counted and reported first could heavily favor Donald Trump, but that mirage could be erased by later counted absentee and mail ballots.
Those mail-in ballots are a top concern this morning, after the Postal Service reported more delays in ballot deliveries in key battleground states, meaning some ballots may be at risk of not arriving in time to be counted. Now, a federal judge has ordered that extraordinary measures must be taken now to move ballots.
I'm just hoping that with the mail-in ballots, I'm hoping that it's a clean election.
So far, more Democrats than Republicans have voted by mail. In long-time Ruby Red, Texas, the early vote count has surpassed the total number of votes cast there in all of 2016. Overnight, a federal court denied a motion by Republicans to block drive-through voting today in the Democratic-leaning Houston area. Earlier, a federal judge dismissed the group's effort to throw out 127,000 drive-through votes already cast. While every state has its own deadline for certifying election results, 21 states and D.C. allow ballots postmarked by today to be counted if they arrive days after the election, including in critical battleground states like Ohio and Pennsylvania. Those two states, along with Wisconsin and Michigan, can only begin counting their millions of mail-in ballots today, which could mean an even greater delay in getting results.
So it may take a little longer than we're used to, even a few days, but that's okay.
President Trump repeatedly on the attack, calling out the Supreme Court's decision to allow Pennsylvania to count ballots postmarked by today and received 3 days later.
We got a very horrible, horrible ruling from the Supreme Court of the United States.
This morning, state election officials are urging patience. The president has suggested.
And that is Tom Costello reporting there. Now, a bit of a reality check as well. The Southern Poverty Law Center says while 100 million votes have been cast, 24 million mail-in ballots, Tim, have not yet been returned. Wow. So what remains to be seen is, are those people now voting in person today instead, or are they just not voting at all? That's a big question we'll be watching as we look at turnout.
And keep in mind, you think of races being called the night of. 4 years ago, I think it was like 2:40 in the morning, they officially called a race. So it's not always like right at 11 o'clock like it was in 2008. It might take longer, and in this case, instead of hours, we might be looking at days. Maybe not.
Or maybe not. So better stay tuned here. Definitely don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Especially since we have the weather right now. You got to find out what the weather's going to be like tonight.
Yeah, Pamela Gardner back with your forecast, and it's going to improve as the week goes on. Maybe when we find out who wins.
Happy Election Day here on this Tuesday. We've had some rainy election days in years past. In fact, the last 5 years, 3 of which have been very rainy. The last 3 years, 2019, 2018, 2017 for Boston in particular. And then we had no rain back in 2016, 2015, none. And now this morning, we woke up to a lot of folks standing in line to go and vote with actually some snow in some parts of New Hampshire, for example. All of that has diminished and has gone away. So tonight, we're going to dry things out. But down to the south, we're watching a dangerous situation with Hurricane Eta as it is near stationary but making landfall across Nicaragua and producing devastating, catastrophic rainfall, 2 to 3 feet possible over the next several days here, as this is a devastating storm, and it will continue to move across the Yucatan here and makes a little loop, and we expect that to move out to sea, but the Western Caribbean, and it may meander enough and close enough to Florida by early next week, so we'll keep you posted on that. Tonight, we're down into the teens, 20s, 20s and 30s. The wind relaxes, near calm with the breeze. Tomorrow, we're in the 40s and 50s. The wind picks up from the south, but these are some beautiful spring-like temperatures, a nice brief break from all the wintry weather we've had the last several days. And the wind from the south could gust, especially tomorrow evening, between 30 and 40 miles an hour, especially across higher elevations. But hey, high pressure in control, that means we avoid any rain and any snow for the next several days, as we see a cold front tries to move in for Thursday into Friday, but notice it fizzles out. So we don't anticipate any rain for the end of the week as high pressure takes over down to our south and to our west once again Saturday. We're going to see a surge of warmth. By the way, the 1 month forecast, we do expect things to be above normal for our temperatures in November. As for precipitation, we're going to be near normal with our rainfall, which typically Boston gets about 4 inches of rain, just about an inch or so of snow. Here's our 10-day forecast. Warm up on the way, 60s already by Thursday.
Oh, we're really going to earn that weekend coming up, 65 and 66 and sunny. Well, tonight we are in the final hours as we speak of this election day. President Trump, Joe Biden, both sounding confident towards the end of their campaign.
And Americans are now deciding whether to give the president another term or send Biden to the White House.
People are voicing their choice, getting out there early voting, and even right now, check this out, live pictures from Worcester, Massachusetts. Kind of quiet there. So if this is your polling place, go quick. Go real quick. You're going to get in and out in like a second. We'll be back before we're even done with our commercial break, because we got a whole lot more election coverage ahead. Stay with us. You're watching NECN, New England's Connection.
I'm Susan, I'm 52, and I live in San Francisco, California. I have been a sales and sales management professional my whole career. Typical day during the work week is I'm working, but first always going for a run or going to the gym. Love reading. I love cooking healthy. It's super important to me. I was noticing that I was just having some memory loss, but it was really bothering me. So I tried Prevagen and it started to work for me. I wish I had taken Prevagen 5 or 10 years ago.
Prevagen, healthier brain, better life.
Could someone be stealing your identity or hacking into your phone or laptop? It can actually happen from across the room or from thousands of miles away. Or a company you trust with your personal information could be breached. Your information is in more places than ever. You need more protection than ever. That's why Norton and LifeLock are now part of one company, providing an all-in-one membership for your cyber safety. Norton 360 with LifeLock gives you identity theft protection, device security, a VPN for online privacy, and more. Cyber criminals keep looking for new ways to steal your personal information. You might not even know it until it's too late.
Someone filed my taxes under my name. $6,000 was sent to some anonymous person, some anonymous bank account.
They got into my bank account and my cell phone. What else do they have?
With threats all around, you need 360-degree protection. Norton 360 with LifeLock gives you all-in-one protection against today's new threats.
I've got 2 industry leaders coming together to help protect my identity and my devices.
Why not have that added layer of protection so that you can sleep well at night?
Join now and use promo code MyPromo to save 25% off your first year. All Norton 360 with LifeLock memberships include LifeLock Identity Theft Protection, backed by our $1 million protection package, and U.S.-based restoration specialists who will work to fix problems. Award-winning Norton device security for multiple devices. A VPN for online privacy, securing your connections whether you're on public Wi-Fi or at home, and more.
You never know where cyber threats are lurking these days. Don't wait to become a victim. Here's how to join.
Norton 360 with LifeLock. Call 1-800-440-6960 or visit lifelock.com/mypromo. Use promo code MyPromo to save 25% off your first year and get a free shredder with annual membership. Call now.
Welcome back to our Decision 2020 coverage on this election day. And as Americans rush to the polls on this final day of voting in the 2020 election, President Trump and Democrat Joe Biden making their final push for those final potentially undecided voters today.
Yeah, and apparently there's not that many of them this year, so they really are battling for them. And both are bracing for a long night and the possibility that the victor in this race may not be known for days. Alice Barr reports from the White House.
At the end of a long and bumpy road, the finish line is in sight, and the power to decide is in the hands of voters.
It's a relief. Now we just have to wait for the outcome.
With nearly 100 million ballots cast early, final totals are set to smash records.
There's nothing like election.
Democrat Joe Biden starting his day with reflection, going to church and visiting his son Beau's gravesite. President Trump thanking campaign staff at his headquarters in Virginia, saying he hasn't yet thought about an acceptance or a concession speech.
Winning is easy. Losing is never easy. Not for me, it's not.
Biden back in critical battleground Pennsylvania. In Philadelphia, saying voter turnout gives him confidence.
We're going to win Pennsylvania because of you.
That after visiting his childhood home in Scranton, writing on the wall, "From this house to the White House with the grace of God." President Trump insisting we should know the results tonight, despite several states warning it will take days to tally up all the votes.
You have to have numbers. You can't have these things delayed for many days and maybe weeks. You can't do that. The whole world is waiting.
Voters anxious for a resolution.
I think it's been really stressful for me, for everybody. I hope that we kind of transition to a better point moving forward.
Election officials urging patience, calm, and faith that every vote will count.
In Washington, Alice Barr. And we are also watching, of course, the races for the Senate across the country. A few of them have gotten tighter in the last few weeks to the point where actually several Republican senators may be on their way out.
Yeah, and the balance in the Senate, really an important thing coming into Election Day today, because Democrats only need a couple seats to go their way if they want control of the Senate, and that could potentially happen depending on how things play out today. Let's go to our Brian Shackman in our newsroom at that all-important touchscreen that you are an expert at now. Matches your shoes a little bit, too. So how many seats do they got to flip?
All right, but by the way, the shoes, I didn't have good purple, so I had the blue up top and the red to balance out my no partisanship here. In terms of, this is what the Senate looks like right now. Okay, you have actually 45 Democrats in the Senate to 53 Republican. The two independents, of course, Angus King of Maine and you Bernie Sanders of Vermont, they caucus with the Democratic Party. That gives them 47. So the scenarios are simple. If Joe Biden wins the White House, the Democrats need a net positive of 3 seats to make it a 50-50 tie, because then the vice president would break a tie, as Pence has had to do. If President Trump wins re-election, they will need to net 4 blue seats to get control of the Senate. Now, we want to talk about a few of the races that, of course, are in play. There are so many, we're actually going to break it up over 2 reports. We start in Colorado. Cory Gardner is the incumbent. John Hickenlooper is the challenger. Now, Hickenlooper's a fascinating story. Was mayor of Denver, governor of Colorado for 8 years, ran for the Democratic nomination for a hot minute, dropped out. The leadership of the Democratic Party really pushed him to go against Gardner. Fast fact, he started the Coop Brewery in Denver, very popular place. Cory Gardner, interesting about him, he's basically been on his heels since the start of this race. He did not vote for Donald Trump in 2016, but once Trump came in office, he became a huge supporter, was one of the first senators to support his re-election bid, voted for all of his Supreme Court nominees, and that has caused him some pain at home. In terms of the data points here, right now Hickenlooper leads 48-40 in the most recent average of polls. That's outside of the margin for error, so he is a definite favorite right now. Gardner won the seat in 2014 by just 2.5%. So if you were you can't assume anything. But in terms of what's leaning blue right now, Colorado definitely leans blue. Now, all of the scenarios we talk about involve none of the Democrat seats being threatened, but that's not the case. So they have to, that's why I talk about netting the gains, because in Alabama, it looks like the Democrats are going to lose a seat. Doug Jones, the incumbent, going against Tommy Tuberville. Some people might recall that name. I'm not sure if you do. He's pretty well known because he was the coach of the Auburn Tigers, a football coach in major college football. Right now, it's pretty ugly, actually, for the incumbent, right? Doug Jones trailing by double digits in the most recent poll. Not a ton of polling, but that is significant. He beat Roy Moore in 2017 by just 2 points. Historically, Moore was a very, very weak candidate. So a lot of people are assuming that Alabama, which is a very red state, will go back to red in terms of this Senate seat. Now, North Carolina, you have Cunningham against Tillis. Now, when it comes to Cal Cunningham, he was firmly in the lead. There was a huge controversy a couple weeks back. Text messages between him and a female who wasn't his wife. It blew up, but it didn't really affect the polls that much. However, it has tightened. So the Democrat challenger up 3 points right now in terms of the Real Clear Politics average. So within the margin of error. Tillis, very much used to tight races, won by 1.7% in 2014. So if you were going to characterize this race right now, it's definitely a toss-up. Actually, Suffolk University did a poll on this race about 2 months ago. It had 42-38 for Cunningham, but the margin for error was 4.4%. So even that poll, it said 4 points on the headline, but the truth is that called it a toss-up as well. And speaking of Suffolk, we want to bring in Dave Paleologos right now from Suffolk, deals with so much of their polling. Dave, first of all, it's great to see you. It's been a while. We had you on Primary Source many times, of course. As we get closer to the polls closing, I'm just curious to start off, which of the early closing states are you focused on right now?
Well, to think, we've gone this whole year and in just over 1 hour, Georgia's polls are going to close. So we're going to get a first look at what's going to be a really close race in Georgia. Joe Biden is actually looking to defy history. Georgia is traditionally a Republican state, and you've got two Senate races, and I'm sure you'll cover those in the next segment. So we're looking at a county called Mitchell County. Mitchell County has been amazing in terms of predicting the margins of victory of the presidential candidates in the statewide total. So check out Mitchell County. It's a very small county. It's one of our bellwethers, and that's one of the first states that we'll be looking at. Then in about an hour and a half, you've got Ohio and North Carolina. The polls will close in those two states. We're looking at a couple of interesting counties, Wood County in Ohio and Caswell County in North Carolina, which will give us an indication maybe of whether or not those states will tip red or blue. And then finally at 8 o'clock, the big prize, and we're going to get a lot of early votes, will be Florida.
Right.
We're watching Pinellas County. Pinellas County is the bellwether there. That should give us an indication, because when that county tax red, the state does, and when it goes blue, the same. So we'll be watching all of those states.
So I have a slew of questions within that, but since you just ended with Florida, people have been talking about Miami-Dade and how the Democratic turnout might not be as good as they had expected. A lot of inroads by Trump with the Latino community. So, and a lot of people think if somehow Biden can win Florida, the election's over. I mean, do you think that Biden has a strong shot at actually taking Florida?
I wouldn't say a strong shot. If there is a blue wave, he has a shot. The last several polls, I think 3 of the last 4 polls had Trump leading by within the margin of error in Florida. And as I've stated, when we released our Florida poll showing it 45-45, a lot of pollsters didn't list all of the candidates on the Florida ballot. Right. And many people don't realize that there were 7 candidates on the Florida ballot. Some of those candidates are going to pair votes away from Joe Biden. So we'll see what happens in Florida. But if there isn't a blue wave, then Donald Trump's going to be competitive. People should manage their expectations. Between 8 and 9:30, Biden's going to be up 15 or 20 points because of all the early mail-in ballots being counted first.
Right.
Then you're going to see Trump catch up and maybe surpass him.
We're tight on time. You know, a lot of people feel Ohio is kind of in the Trump column right now, but out of Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, I mean, again, this is prognostication. We're not going to hold you to it, but which one do you think is the most in play of those 3 states?
You know, Ohio tends to follow with Iowa, and the big poll that came out in Iowa showing Donald Trump winning by 7 gives us all a signal that maybe in the Midwest, Donald Trump might be stronger than the prior polls. So, I still think Ohio really depends on Cuyahoga County and whether or not the Cleveland turnout is soft like it was in Miami, in Miami-Dade. In that case, Trump will have a better chance to win that.
All right. Dave Paleologos from Suffolk University, one of the best in the business. We appreciate your time on election night.
My pleasure.
All right, guys, back to you.
Thank you, Brian and David. As they mentioned, Ohio polls closed there 7:30 like North Carolina, so that's an important time to watch. 2 potential swing states, battleground states. One of the earlier ones to close could give us maybe a sense of how the day is going to go. We got a lot more election coverage still ahead here on this election night.
We certainly do, but of course, polls are still open here throughout New England. Here's a live look from Bedford, New Hampshire. You can see people are just kind of funneling in there. Our Catherine Underwood was there a short time ago. We'll talk to her again. She said the slow night out there now, but earlier there were lines. A lot of people, though, taking part in early voting earlier and also on Election Day. President Trump looks to New Hampshire, the state that delivered him his first primary victory in 2016. The big question tonight, can he do it again? The results remain to be seen. Polls getting ready to start closing there at 7 p.m. So stay with us. We're covering it all throughout New England and across the nation. You're watching NECN, New England's Connection.
The most up-to-date news on the coronavirus pandemic all in one place. The facts and information that affect your health, safety, and wallet, updated daily. Plus, we're sharing the stories of the selfless people on the front lines. Scan the QR code and sign up for the NECN newsletter.
If you've spent a little too much time staring at your old carpet, we've got a deal for you. At National Floors Direct, you can get a whole room of name brand carpet, next day installation, padding, everything for just $333. That's right, just $333. Call 888-400-FLOOR and get an entire room of luxury carpet for just $333. Get as many rooms as you want, no hidden extras, and no interest for 1 full year. Call National Floors Direct at 888-400-FLOOR. We'll bring the store to your door.
Because of this, we built the most powerful Ford Explorer ever. Because of this, we built Ford Expedition with best-in-class towing. Because of this, we built Escape with Ford Copilot 360. And because Ford SUVs are built for this, you made Ford America's best-selling brand. Lease Explorer, a top safety pick plus for $229 a month, or get 0 for 60 plus up to $4,500 total cash on select SUVs.
Even with our wide selection of brand name appliances, finding what you want at State Street Discount is easy.
Our top priority is the well-being of our customers and employees. To continue serving you during these challenging times, we're following CDC guidelines to make sure everyone's experience at State Street Discount is safe.
Since 1955, we've been committed to personal service and great prices. Getting to know our customers so we can help you save, that's always been the best part of the job.
State Street Discount, all you want.
Save big on auto service and tires and get ready for the New England weather ahead. You'll save instantly on Goodyear and Continental, General and Kelly, and more. And you can save even more with mail-in rebates on select major brands. Plus, right now, beat the winter rush and you'll get 10% off any auto service. But these offers are only through November 21st and only at Sullivan Tire.
Uh-oh, here it comes. We're ready. Are you?
Hey there, happy Tuesday. Well, when can we turn the heat off? This is good news. Milder air on the way already for Wednesday. I wouldn't turn it off just yet, though. Wednesday night, not quite as cold, but up north it will be still chilly. Thursday night, everyone can be experiencing these warm, mild temperatures. But again, tonight you'll need the furnace on. Temperatures in the teens north, 20s and 30s down to the south, right around freezing, so watch out for slick spots on the roads. Tomorrow, 40s across Maine, but 50s down to the south, and some areas may reach 60 degrees, such as Hartford. The wind picks up from the south as well. And this is just the start to our warming trend. As we'll see 50s tomorrow, we'll go into the 60s for Thursday into Friday. And then quite a dry stretch. Nice, quiet weather through the weekend, which is great news. Any outdoor activities you have. Saturday, Sunday, we're in the mid-60s and feeling good into next week. Our next chance for rain, not until next Wednesday.
Well, today's election is certainly making history and breaking records, Tim, especially with turnout. And a lot of people are actually placing little bets on what may happen.
I didn't know you could do this. Not that I would gamble on that. I'm not a big gambler. It's actually illegal to make bets on the race here in the U.S., but sportsbooks overseas say more than $1 billion has exchanged hands, people betting on the outcome. It's actually more than twice the amount of money bet on the 2016 election, which I'm sure a lot of people lost a lot of money. Sportsbooks say former Vice President Joe Biden is the favorite, but his odds are not as commanding as his leads in the polls may suggest. I wonder if they do like Senate races, ballot questions, like prop bets and stuff.
You should go check it out. We'll see how much.
Not in this country.
Well, we're not going to do that. We're just
one of the
look,
websites that puts you through like the Virgin Islands or something.
Okay.
Not that I know.
We don't know anything about that. Casting a ballot, though, a modern right for women now in America. Thankfully, getting here, though, was a long fight, Tim.
Yeah, and some new polls out really recently, too, suggest that the presidential election could result in a bigger gender gap the country has seen since women won the right to vote 100 years ago. So what's causing this shift? Well, Sue O'Connell always has all the answers. Let's go to Sue with the latest on that, Sue.
Yeah, that's right. This is definitely a historic race, regardless of what the outcome is, because of Senator Kamala Harris, who is making history. And who better to talk to about what the barriers are that she's had to overcome than Amanda Hunter, who is the Research and Communications Director over at the Barbara Lee Family Foundation. Good to see you, Amanda. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Talk to me about the challenges that Kamala Harris faces that Mike Pence doesn't.
Sure. Well, Senator Harris is only the third woman to ever serve as a pick for VP on a major party presidential ticket. So in a lot of ways, there's an imagination barrier when it comes to women in that role. And as a Black woman in particular, we know that Senator Harris is held to a different and higher standard. The good news, though, is that Senator Harris has navigated those high standards successfully for more than 2 decades in public life. And throughout this campaign, she's really been able to tune out the bullies and focus on the issues.
As Tim and Jackie were mentioning, we do definitely see a gender gap that's happening in the voting patterns. From the polls, at least, we'll see how the end result looks. Are men and women fundamentally looking for different characteristics in their candidates?
Well, it's important that women are not a monolithic voting bloc. We don't all agree on everything, and we certainly don't all vote the same. That being said, we've seen a huge shift in women's political engagement. Our research shows that since the Women's March in 2017, women report being more politically engaged than ever and show no signs of slowing down. Millennial women and women of color in particular are really leading the charge. And we've seen that across this country when you look at women who are organizing for campaigns on both sides of the aisle.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg's death certainly left an opening, obviously, on the Supreme Court, but her efforts for women's rights are unparalleled. Her position was filled by Justice Amy Coney Barrett. That debate put women's issues into the campaign in a way that it really wasn't before. How did that discussion shape women's issues and the effort to get women to vote for Trump or for Biden?
Well, women's issues have been really front and center in a lot of kind of hidden ways throughout this year because women have really borne the brunt of the COVID-19 crisis, and it's also really brought the childcare crisis in this country to the forefront. Certainly with the change in the Supreme Court and the passing of icon Ruth Bader Ginsburg, reproductive freedom and other issues have been front and center. But the fact that we are now navigating multiple crises in this country, whether it be the economy, racial justice, or COVID-19, has really made this a political cycle like no other.
We do see some great success in Maine on the women's front. We have 2 candidates. We've got the incumbent, Senator Susan Collins, Sarah Gideon, the challenger. And the fact that they're both women, there are other people on the ballot, but one of them will most likely win. That's success, right?
Absolutely, Sue. And that's one of 4 Women v. Women Senate races across the country. I just have to note that Maine has really been a leader in New England with women's representation when you think that Margaret Chase Smith was elected in 1949 and stood up to Joe McCarthy. And they've really had a legacy.
Amanda, we're going to have to leave it there.
Women.
I got to leave it there, but great to talk to you. I could talk to you all night. We'll talk to you again soon. Thank you. Back to you, Tim and Jackie.
Thank you, Sue. And we're going to stick on Maine in a minute. Our election coverage is just getting started here on NECN. That Maine race, people are watching it from all over the country. It's an important one.
Yeah, it's an important one that could help determine where the Senate goes. It's a key one in flipping the Senate. We're live in Maine as Sarah Gideon looks to unseat Susan Collins. So stay with us.
You're watching NECN, New England's Connection. Our election night coverage continues right after the break and all the way through midnight and beyond. It's going to be a fun, long night. Stick around.
Your city, your style. The Hub Today Weekend. Saturday morning at 10 on NECN.
Tired of struggling with regular mirrors that don't adjust so you can't get close enough? Need both hands but you don't have a stand? Can't move in the right direction to see your own reflection? You need Flexible Mirror, the bendable light-up magnification mirror that comes to you. Watch. Just stick it on and turn the base. The super suction locking mechanism means you can put it on any smooth surfaced place, horizontal or vertical. Lock it onto any mirror, table, or desk. Use it in the shower, even on a window. The secret is Flexible Mirror's super strong articulating arm that's attached with an ingenious ball and socket so it can swivel and rotate for the perfect angle. And look how strong it holds. The mirror is precision crafted with 10 times magnification and crystal clear optics. And with a soft glow LED ring, you'll get picture perfect lighting to highlight every detail. Flexible Mirror makes shaving, applying makeup, hairstyling, grooming, and accessorizing easier than ever before. Plus, men, listen up. The 10 times magnification makes it perfect for giving your beard a detailed trim. Whatever you need to do, Flexible Mirror comes to you. Plus, the contemporary chrome accents add a lovely modern touch to any room. Stop struggling to put in your delicate contacts and let Flexible Mirror come to you, so it's much easier to do. Similar mirrors can cost as much as $100, and they don't even come to you. But you can get Flexible Mirror for the special TV discount price of just $19.99. We guarantee you'll love the Flexible Mirror so much that it comes with our 90-day, no questions asked money-back guarantee. And here's the best part.